there is a rare stillness between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. that the average person never experiences. While the rest of the world sleeps, there is no noise, no messages, no demands. It is the only time when the external world becomes quiet enough for you to truly hear yourself. But this time is not simply about waking early. It is about using this window as a tool, a method to gain clarity, sharpen your mind, and strengthen your discipline. The question is not just what time do you wake up. The real question is, what do you do with the time others waste? Waking up before the world does is not a sacrifice, it's an advantage. And the few who train themselves to use it consistently do not just live differently. They perform differently, think differently, and lead themselves with greater purpose. But this only works when the actions you take match the discipline of rising early. When you wake between 3 and 5 in the morning, you are stepping into a space that does not belong to noise, reaction, or urgency. It is the one time of day when no one is asking anything from you. And because of that, it is also the most powerful time to train your mind. But most people, even if they wake early, rush to fill this space with stimulation, checking messages, reviewing tasks, scrolling endlessly. They miss the value of the silence. And so the silence never has the chance to shape them. This is where discipline begins. By choosing to be still before choosing to be active. The first 10 minutes of your day are not meant for doing, they are meant for observing. It is the moment where you meet your mind before the world meets you. No input, no reaction, just presence. To sit without distraction in a silent space at this hour does something very specific. It makes you confront the condition of your inner world before you begin engaging with the outer one. You begin to notice how much noise is already inside of you. The planning, the worry, the unfinished conversations in your head. These things do not disappear just because you woke up early. They are already waiting for you, but sitting in silence, observing your thoughts without reacting to them, you begin to create a small gap. In that gap, you are no longer pulled by every mental movement. You become the observer. And observation creates control. You cannot lead a day you have not mentally entered with clarity. And you cannot gain clarity unless you're willing to face the raw state of your mind without turning away. This does not require any mystical method. It is not about sitting in a certain posture or following any specific breath count. The practice is simpler and more powerful than that. Sit upright. Keep your back straight. Keep your body still. Close your eyes or keep them slightly open. Let the silence surround you. And then pay attention. If thoughts come, you notice them. If your attention wanders, you return it. Without judgment, without frustration, over time, this simple practice becomes a mirror. You begin to see the patterns that dominate you. You notice if your first thoughts are anxious. You notice if your first feelings are restless. You begin to track what state your mind is trying to start the day in. And the moment you see it clearly, you reclaim your power to shape it. Most people live the entire day on autopilot because they never paused long enough to observe how they were entering it. They are not living the day, they are being carried by it. But when you start with this deliberate stillness, you become aware of how easy it is to lose control of your focus. And that awareness trains you to guard it. Once you know what your mind does in silence, you can begin to shape how it behaves under pressure. And this is the purpose, not relaxation, not escape, but readiness. A readiness that comes from awareness, not from anxiety. 10 minutes may feel short in theory, but if you are fully present, it can feel long enough to change the direction of your thinking. It trains you to be comfortable with quiet, to be patient with discomfort, to resist the pull of urgency and distraction. And this resistance builds mental endurance. Like physical strength, mental focus is developed through repetition, not intensity. Every morning you sit and face your own thoughts before the world intrudes. You are sharpening your internal discipline, and the sharper the discipline becomes, the more calmly you can navigate everything that follows. The body and the mind are not separate instruments. They are connected, constantly influencing one another, either sharpening or dulling your awareness. After waking between 3 and 5 in the morning, once the mind has been brought into stillness and attention has been cultivated, the next step must be to awaken the body, not with intensity, not with noise, but with control. Controlled movement or breath work is not about burning calories or chasing performance. It is about aligning energy, posture, and control in a way that allows the body to support the clarity of the mind throughout the day. This time is not for chaos. It is for deliberate action. Movement, when done with intention, is not just exercise. It is a form of communication between your physical system and your internal state. If you move with attention, you carry tension. If you move with awareness, you build awareness. The first movements of your day are a rehearsal for how you will move through the rest of your day. Controlled movements can be very simple. It can be a slow, repeated pattern of stretching the arms overhead, folding forward, rotating the spine, loosening the hips. You do not need equipment. You do not need music. What you need is presence. Every movement should be matched with attention to your breath. Every shift in posture becomes a message from the body to the brain that you are no longer in rest mode. You are now preparing for action. This slow activation allows the nervous system to transition smoothly from sleep to readiness. And in that transition, something important happens. You learn how to carry your own weight with control. You learn how to coordinate breath and movement so that your actions are no longer rushed, scattered, or weak. They become deliberate. And this deliberation trains a kind of silent discipline. Breathwork is another method to access the same quality. Controlled breathing, simple, rhythmic, grounded, teaches the body to stabilize under pressure. Just like the mind, the breath becomes a tool of self-command. If you breathe shallow and fast, your nervous system begins to believe that you are in danger even when you are not. If you breathe deep, slow, and controlled, your system learns to operate from calm even when demands rise later in the day. Inhale fully, exhale fully, count to rhythm, stay consistent. This pattern of breath becomes a form of movement itself, internal and powerful. The stillness of the body combined with the rhythm of the breath creates a focused presence. And from that presence, endurance and energy rise naturally, not from caffeine, not from noise, but from alignment. Engaging the body in this way is not about performance, it is about preparation. You are not trying to look a certain way, you are not trying to impress. You are reminding the body that it is a tool of discipline, not chaos. Every stretch, every breath, every slow rotation tells the body, I am awake, I am in control, I am present. When the body learns to respond calmly to deliberate movements and controlled breath, it begins to carry that calm into everything else. Conversations, decisions, posture, reaction. You begin to walk differently. You begin to feel tension before it builds. You begin to command the physical space around you without words. When you start your day by aligning the mind and body together, stillness first, then movement, you create a state of inner order. And in a world full of disorder, that inner order is not just useful, It is powerful. Few people take the time to train this level of connection. Most rush, most collapse into motion without awareness. But when you take this time, even just 10 to 15 minutes, you create an internal advantage. You are no longer reacting to the day. You are directing it from within. After the mind has settled and the body has been activated with precision, the next task is to direct your focus toward purpose. Not toward a list, not toward distractions, but toward a single, deliberate outcome. The early morning hours are not the time to scatter your mind across 10 directions. They are the time to clarify one. Writing down one essential thing that must be done today is not a trivial habit. It is a form of inner leadership. It is the act of choosing, not reacting. And the quality of your life is not shaped by how much you do, but by how well you do what matters. Clarity is rare in today's world. Most people are constantly shifting between tasks, constantly busy but rarely productive. They wake up and let the day decide for them. They are driven by alerts, not direction. But when you take 1 minute in the stillness of early morning to ask yourself, what is the one thing I must finish today, no matter what? You are reclaiming the ability to lead yourself instead of being pulled by external demands. The simplicity of the question is its strength. It forces you to confront your priorities. It pushes you to take responsibility for your direction. And once the answer becomes clear, writing it down gives it structure. The mind holds thousands of thoughts at once, but the hand writes one. And in that one action, you shift from scattered thinking to focused intention. This task must be chosen with care. It is not about urgency, it is about impact. What single action, if completed today, would make everything else either easier or less important? What outcome will bring you closer to your long-term values, not just your short-term satisfaction? It might be a conversation you've been avoiding, a decision you've been postponing, a task that moves a larger project forward. Whatever it is, once identified, it becomes your anchor. Your focus does not need to be loud, it needs to be accurate. That accuracy is cultivated each time you choose one task with awareness, instead of 10 out of anxiety. The purpose of writing is to crystallize thought. Without writing, thoughts remain soft, floating, subject to emotion and distraction. When you write, you commit. You no longer hold vague intentions. You give yourself a clear instruction. The act of writing down your one task transforms it into a personal contract. It says, I will not end this day without this being done. It is not about speed. It is not about urgency, it is about intention. One clear task completed with precision builds confidence. That confidence is not loud, it is silent. It is the quiet recognition that you are able to direct your own effort. And this quiet confidence grows stronger with repetition. Discipline is not built by doing more. It is built by doing what matters with consistency. And one of the easiest ways to lose discipline is to avoid responsibility for choice. By identifying one core task each morning, you are practicing decision-making before the world has the chance to make your decisions for you. This habit trains clarity, it trains honesty. You begin to see the gap between what you say is important and what you actually do. And each time you close that gap even slightly, you move with more integrity, you waste less energy, you respect your own time more. And as you respect your time, others begin to respect it too. This process also removes the illusion of complexity. Many people avoid starting their day because they are overwhelmed by options. But when you force yourself to choose only one thing to complete, you eliminate indecision. You are not saying that other tasks are unimportant. You are saying that one task deserves your full presence, and presence, when applied with consistency, creates results that scattered effort cannot. So before the noise of the day arrives, before the distractions have a chance to pull you, this quiet act of writing down the one task becomes your compass, not for busyness, but for direction. To move through the world without clear standards is to drift without a compass. The early hours between 3 and 5 a.m. are not just an opportunity for silence and action, they are also the best time to return to what is essential within you. Before the world imposes its expectations, before your mind begins to chase results, you must revisit the foundation that holds all your decisions together. This foundation is made of your personal principles, your internal code. They are not inherited, and they should not be random. They are defined by you, and they must be revisited if they are to remain alive in your daily life. Most people move through the day reacting to circumstances. They decide what to tolerate, what to pursue, and what to ignore based on emotion or pressure. But without reviewing their own standards regularly, they become reactive instead of intentional. The reason why principles must be reviewed daily is not because they change every day, but because you do. Each day brings new challenges, new doubts, new opportunities to compromise. Reviewing your principles in the early morning is a method to remind yourself who you are before the pressure tests it. This does not need to be complex. You do not need a long list of abstract values. It is more powerful to be precise and practical. What are the behaviors you will not tolerate from yourself? What are the situations where you will not stay silent? What type of effort do you demand of yourself, even when no one is watching? These are not rules that others give you. These are standards you hold, because you understand that freedom without structure becomes weakness. You are not trying to appear disciplined. You are choosing to live aligned with your own clarity, and clarity fades quickly in a distracted world. This is why the early hours matter so much. They give you the space to remember. You may choose to write down your principles, or you may speak them aloud quietly. The method is less important than the consistency. What matters is that each morning, before the chaos begins, you take a few minutes to ask yourself, what do I stand for? How will I conduct myself today, regardless of how others behave? What will I not sacrifice for convenience or approval? These are not dramatic questions, they are grounding ones. Because in the heat of the day, when things go wrong, when people push your limits, when frustration appears, you will not have time to think clearly if you have not practiced clarity before the challenge arrives. This is how you train composure, not just by breathing deeply in stressful moments, but by rehearsing your foundation every morning when you are undisturbed. Every action you take during the day either strengthens or weakens your relationship with your own standards. Each time you compromise on something small, you weaken your alignment. And once that alignment is lost, no amount of effort can replace the damage. Reviewing your principles in the morning acts like tightening the strings of an instrument. If the strings are too loose, the music is distorted. If they are tuned well, the music is clean, sharp, direct. You must become the one who tunes yourself daily. No one else can do this for you. Even those with the best intentions cannot hand you a clear life. You must choose it. And you must keep choosing it every single day. This review does not need to feel inspiring. It only needs to be honest. Some days, it will remind you of the gap between who you were yesterday and who you intend to be today. But it is better to face that gap than to pretend it does not exist. And by facing it, you bring attention to the only place where real strength is built. Not in being perfect, but in refusing to lie to yourself about your direction in the quiet of the early morning, when your thoughts are not yet polluted by noise. This review becomes a mirror. You either recognize your reflection or you don't. If you do, you walk forward with certainty. If you don't, you sit with it until you do. In a world constantly in motion, the rarest quality is stillness. Not laziness, not inaction, stillness. The kind of stillness that is deliberate, awake and aware. Before the momentum of the day takes over, before the noise of obligation and expectation begins to knock on your attention, there is a short window in the early morning where you can choose to sit in complete stillness, not to sleep, not to plan, but to observe. This stillness is not a technique, it is a discipline. It is a reminder that even in a life full of responsibility, you remain in control of your state. This is not meditation for the sake of calm, it is stillness for the sake of power. Power over activity, power over distraction, power over the compulsive need to respond before thinking. If you train yourself each morning to sit without reacting, even for a few minutes, you are developing one of the rarest strengths in modern life. The ability to remain unmoved until you decide to move. This is not easy. Stillness can feel unnatural, especially when the world teaches you that doing is more important than being. But what most people fail to understand is that every action taken from a chaotic state leads to more chaos. Stillness is how you clean the internal surface before writing anything on it. A few minutes of deliberate stillness each morning trains your nervous system to operate from clarity instead of pressure. You are not trying to stop thinking. You are simply allowing thoughts to rise without chasing them. You are not reacting to noise, to memory, to fear, or to plans. You are simply letting them come and go, like clouds passing through an open sky. You are reminding yourself that not every impulse must be followed and not every thought must be answered. In this quiet awareness, your mind begins to slow down, and in that slowness, you find space. Not physical space, but mental space, the kind of space from which right decisions emerge, from which strength takes root. Most people jump from their beds into movement, into screens, into stimulation. They open the door of the day and let everything rush in at once. And then they wonder why they feel scattered, tired, uncertain. But those who train deliberate stillness first build an inner war. A conscious delay, a pause between waking and reacting. That pause is not emptiness, it is alignment. It is the difference between drifting through your day or steering it. It is the difference between being a passenger in your own life or being the one who holds the reins. Stillness is the doorway to all deliberate action. Because once you have learned to be still without being passive, you can move with precision without becoming rushed. In the stillness, things become visible that are usually hidden. You notice patterns in your thoughts. You hear the tone of your inner voice. You feel where the body is tight, where emotion is stored, where tension waits. And in noticing, you become free to choose. You are no longer unconsciously carrying stress into your first conversation. You are no longer reacting from fear disguised as urgency. You are moving with awareness, and this awareness is your anchor. It does not mean the rest of the day will be perfect. It means you will begin from a place that is stable. And when the first challenge comes, and it always comes, you will not flinch. You will respond from presence, not panic. Stillness does not require hours. It does not need incense or ritual. It needs only attention and discipline. To sit or stand or breathe in silence, with your spine tall and your awareness wide. To listen to the environment without trying to change it. To feel the rhythm of your breath without forcing it. To watch your thoughts rise without becoming them. This is not just mental training. It is a sharpening of your internal posture. Each day that you practice this, your inner voice becomes more precise. Your reactions become slower, more intentional. You waste less energy on what does not matter. You begin to notice when you are about to move from weakness instead of strength. And slowly, over time, you build a presence that others can feel without you speaking a word. So, as the world wakes up in haste, chasing noise and movement, you who have chosen the early hours are already ahead. Not in time, but in clarity. You have stretched your body, directed your focus, aligned your mind with purpose, reviewed your core, and cultivated stillness. These are not routines. They are rituals of strength. And strength is not loud, it is consistent. Begin each day this way, and over time, your life becomes a reflection of discipline rather than this. The morning does not define your day, you define it by what you choose to do before the world even opens its eyes.